Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. One of the best things that you can do when you're having these video game conversations is that you dial into the data. I'm seeing some comments come up, and I'm sure they mean well. These people are saying to, I don't know who they're saying it to, that you need to just not worry about what these companies are doing. Just play games where you want and enjoy them. Ditto. However, those of us that are engaging in a conversation, some of us is a hobbyist thing. Some of us are interested in knowing how we go about our gaming. The information is very critical to help you make these decisions. I hate blind consumerism. And to be honest, whenever I see that comment, it's borderlining on my mind, interpreting it as shut up, consume product and keep going. That's not something that I would advocate for, nor something that I would, in a sense, condone. I saw a few questions from an audience member here, like a few comments anyways, and they basically are responding to some of the videos that I'm making, and it's basically a barrage. You know what a barrage is? When they just come in and they just start, and you have to say, Saber Z094, take a deep breath, relax. I see you are, busy. Calm down. What is the issue? What's going on? How is this all playing out? And what are your thoughts about the reality? In the last few minutes, you've made 3 comments in a row, back to back to back. And I'm happy because it means you're actually, pretty much watching the video and, engaging with the content. That's good. At least you're countering or attempting to counter some of the things that I've said. Number 1, though, is kind of weird because you said sad Xbox fanboy coping. Now, this is not nice. Okay. Number 1, you're berating Xbox fans. I'm not an Xbox fan, believe it or not. I game on PC. And if I were to basically clap back, it will be unfair. So now that you know, I'm going to basically chalk it up to maybe you just are in disbelief that, this is not an Xbox fan saying this stuff. Number 2, I mentioned in this video that the console war is dead, and it's very dead. And in the console war, I said, or in the video anyways, I said the console war died for Xbox fans in 2016 when Quantum Break showed up on PC and the Crab Gamer was whining on Twitter and Phil Spencer had to come in and chastise them. And then in 2020 for PlayStation fans when Horizon Zero Dawn went to PC and Herman Hulst came out on a March 10th, 2020 PlayStation blog, look it up, and said that to ease some fans, just because one PlayStation game, AAA game, came to PC didn't mean that other AAA games were going to be coming, which we now know is a fugazi because I'm anticipating Spider-Man 2 on PC, which is insane, right? Then I mentioned that it will be quite surprising if in the next few years we don't see more PlayStation games on Xbox. To which you said, MLB The Show is not published by PlayStation on Xbox. Stop the cap. Let me help you out with something. I don't care if the DoD publishes MLB The Show on Xbox. You know what I mean? You hear me? It is a game that is developed by San Diego Studios. You have got to be very, very bereft of honesty to think that this game has nothing to do with PlayStation in that regard. If Sony did not want this game to go to Xbox, they could have simply said to MLB, pound sand. Because I'm sure that while the development was going on, the agreement had to be restructured and re-signed. You see, it's one thing if 16-year-olds are talking about these things, but it's another thing when, a little bit more growner, and permit me to use that word, adults are actually, making statements about these particular situations. What kind of world do you think we live in? Where do you think you can make these kind of arguments and be taken seriously? Inside of a McDonald's? No. Even the McDonald's staff will laugh at you and give you a little bit of ice cream and say, calm down, baby. You are over here talking nonsense. Y'all act like MLB was like, hey, this is what's going on. And PlayStation was like, well, we have no choice. No, they had a choice. They could have walked away. EA walked away from FIFA and said, we're going to go name our soccer game FC 2024, FC 2025, and they're still raking in the dough. So they could have done the same thing and made a generic MLB game if they truly were about that life. All this talk about PlayStation being this and this and that to get MLB come in here and bully them is the strangest thing I've ever seen you PlayStation fans continue to try to maybe in a sense drive home as a point. Who do you think is going to take that from anybody? Good old MLB is over there basically bullying PlayStation, and PlayStation is wimping and saying, sure, senpai, we're going to put the game on Game Pass too. This is nonsense. You then also came ahead and said, PlayStation won the console war. Let's stop pretending it just ended. It didn't just end. One side clearly won. One side is clearly the dominant. What PlayStation exclusive games are on Xbox? If you're grading PlayStation exclusive games as the measure for being dominant, then I think you are probably lost. Why? PlayStation doesn't have exclusive games that we know of in this generation anymore, simply because all of its exclusives exist on my platform that I prefer playing on, which is PC. You said, poor Xbox cope. If I wanted to clown you, I'd throw out slurs that are used in the console war at you and throw cope at the end, but I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the reality of the gaming industry. This is why I always tell my fellow PlayStation fanboys, you ought to be careful when you draw hard lines. Because initially, the very first reactions that we saw against moving games to the PC platform was Xbox. When the crap gamer, who I thought was very interesting in that particular interaction, seemed to be a little bit aghast with Phil Spencer. Even basically addressing Phil, saying that nobody advertised Quantum Break coming on PC. And Phil Spencer was quite shocked about the reaction when they said they were going to cancel their pre-order. And he said, you're going to cancel your pre-order for a game you want to play because someone else gets to play the game on Windows? It was also a very similar situation when we saw a Joel Santos, who I don't know who this person is, but they have a Twitter account, that was dragging a Guerrilla Games developer or former Guerrilla Games producer about the game Horizon Zero Dawn going to PC. You see, once these two companies put their games on PC, they already capitulated to the PC platform, saying that they cannot sustain their sales of their video games by their own audiences. The fight that they were basically fighting against one another was all a facade. They were just pretty much doing this tit for tat while the gaming industry was growing, in a significant way. Hardware on PC was also growing. According to Circana NPD research, 2015, 16, 17, the gaming industry leaped by billions in sales of hardware. And so once that audience started to get more and more established, it was obvious that very soon, as PlayStation players, those of you who always come here to claim and shout about the so-called console war that you won, weren't buying the games to their satisfaction, that they were going to start looking for customers elsewhere. And I want to show you the Joel Santos tweet, because this tweet has been very pivotal for us, where he was basically asking a Guerrilla producer. A former Guerrilla producer doesn't understand that the success built by his former company was done on the basis of outstanding exclusives, and that scrapping that exclusivity diminishes the brand value? And the producer replied and said, the company builds successes by hard work and talent. They're owned by Sony, so being exclusive was simply a fact. That they're able to release on PC shows how much belief they have on their game and their ability to execute on a platform they haven't shipped on in years. I could throw Xbox into this and say the same thing, and I'll walk away, and your so-called console war being dead as is the horse that I will continue to kick every single time I hit the record button on these videos. You have to understand that no one cares about the stupid console war, especially not even for someone who plays on PC. My aim and my goal is to ensure that there's truth and sensibility in this conversation, because the gaslighting that I've seen from PlayStation fans, the hyper fans, is shameful. And the reason it shames me is because I actually do like PlayStation. I played on the console of choice for me for the many, many years I played on console has been PlayStation. And so for me to look and say, why are so-called PlayStation fans behaving like this, is quite weird. So we got to weed out the nastiness that's in there. And the only way we can do that is by just pointing to the truth and the reality of what's going on in the gaming industry. If you don't have a way to go ahead and actually, in a sense, refute these things in a sensible way other than throwing Xbox console war, blah, 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 when in reality, the goal to sell consoles is to sell games. And PlayStation seemingly is not confident that its own user base is enough to sell these games, to sell them enough like Nintendo has over the years. In fact, it's very interesting because, again, as Phil Spencer was castigating in 2016, the Xbox fan or the hyper Xbox fan about them canceling a pre-order for a game that they want to play because someone else is going to play it, Herman Holst was also trying at least to put minds at ease in that PlayStation blog in 2020. Both companies have had to move to PC and have had to cross over the obstacle of the hyper fandom that wants exclusivity strapped to their warm chest. And against the grain, they've started to make these moves. In fact, Xbox is the one that's leading the way. They're 4 years ahead. 2016 Quantum Break, count it, 2020 Horizon Zero Dawn. And Herman Holst, who said that in this particular interview that they were not interested in day one launches on PC. Look at it. We do not have plans for day and date PC releases, and we remain 100% committed to dedicated hardware. That particular paradigm has changed. In 2024, PlayStation launched 4 games day one on PC. Do you hear what I said? They launched Helldivers 2. They launched Lego Horizon Adventures. They launched Until Dawn Remake. And also, they launched Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster. Some people will want to come in and clarify and say, well, they already said they were going to launch live service games day one, but they shifted from not wanting to do day one to live service day one. Do you see the shift? This is their words, not mine. So if you're fighting a console war, I'm over here laughing at you and saying, no, you actually are picking up the pieces of all of the shattered promises that were given to you by Xbox and PlayStation. They've both shifted from that position of we're not going to move games anywhere. It's just that Xbox is, I would say, cordial enough and polite enough to tell you. PlayStation, on the other hand, is not interested in actually telling you. They'll just do it when they're ready to do it. Just watch and see. I mean, they've done it already, and you are still here telling me this. Decima Engine, the engine that actually did develop Horizon games, is running Death Stranding on Xbox, a game developed under the PlayStation Studios banner. Lego Horizon Adventures is on the Nintendo Switch and showed up day one on PC. And yet, someone is telling me which PlayStation exclusives are on Xbox? You're joking, right? Because you know if they ever bring Spider-Man to Xbox, you know what they're going to tell you, right? They're going to tell you that Marvel is the one publishing the game on Xbox. That's what they're going to tell you. So if you want to be a 4-year-old about it, or if you want to be an adult about it, understand and look through the, smoke and realize that, man, all of this stuff is moving simply because money has got to be made. And you are not going to stand in the way with your $500 purchase. They're not going to let you. Both companies, none of them. That's why I tell you guys, come to PC. Come on. The next generation, don't touch those consoles. If you can help it, I think you can, because again, PC components are going to get cheaper. They always get cheaper. Get in here. This is where you're going to be sitting back and looking and saying, what are these guys doing? Thanks for watching. Talk to me in the comment section. Peace out.